Part 2. Lower Fire Month, 9th month, 4th day, 15:01. Dawn came, and with it, Seba's and Solution's busy day began. They could have left without a word, but they had built their identities as traders and it would be a shame to simply discard it like that, so they decided to put on a show and pretend they were returning to the Empire. He brought Solution with him. She had only met them once before this, when they had just arrived and announced their return to their homeland to all the traders and to the guild. Of course they could not simply leave after saying they were going back. They had to spend time on small talk, that being an indispensable part of improving relationships. The fact was that no man was unwilling to speak with Solution, which meant they had to spend more time on interaction. In the end, they spent upwards of half an hour at every location they visited, and after they had finished reporting to everyone, it was already very late. "Well, we spent a lot of time on this, but we've already arranged for the temporary storehouse and the grain transportation. That should take care of everything and we can return to Nazarick now." There were hints of delight in Solution's voice. Sebas could tell that this was because she was pleased. WuxaWorldAudio.com. Both because she would be able to return to the great underground tomb of Nazarick, and also because she had fulfilled the orders her master had handed down to her. Since intelligence gathering had primarily been Seba's job, she had probably not had much chance to experience the sense of accomplishment which came from serving her master and producing results. Solution's job now was to play the role of the mistress in preparation for their return to Nazarick. Surely that would have filled her with great satisfaction. She seemed about to hum to herself. The fact was that her good-spirited conversation with the merchants had led to various negotiations going in their favor. For instance, they had received a huge discount on the rent for the warehouse, on top of the deductions for buying a large quantity of grain. Being pretty makes you really popular. That was what Sebas thought as he stopped the coach in the yard of the house and led Solution to the main door of the house. He took out the key for the front door and inserted it into the keyhole. Then he turned it, as he always did, but he did not hear the clicking that should have followed, nor did he feel like he had opened a lock. Sebas wrinkled his brow in confusion, and then his eyes met Solution's. Was the door open? He pushed, and the door opened slightly. Sewer was the only one left in the house. There was no way she would have gone outside on her own. There are fresh scratches around the keyhole. Someone probably picked. Sebas rammed the door open without waiting for Solution to finish. He did not consider the possibility of there being a trap in place. Even if there was a trap, he would crush it underfoot. Now that they had finished the work of pulling out from the house, it felt cold and empty. Upon setting foot into the house, Sebas immediately deployed his full suite of detection abilities to pick up the breathing of living creatures, in other words, traces of Suer. However, he could not sense any humans around. "Suer, Suer, are you there?" he shouted loudly as he searched around the house. Sebas went through every nook and cranny but could not find her. Not only had he not found her, but there were no traces of her either. It was as though she had vanished into thin air. No, somebody must have broken in. There's no smell of blood, so she was probably abducted. That being the case, the kidnapper's demands will be. Sebas clenched his fists. As he thought, he should not have left Sewer behind while he was saying his farewells. He burned with frustration at his failure. In fact, he should never have left Sewer alone in the house. Having clashed with a criminal syndicate, he felt that it was inevitable that danger would come his way sooner or later. That said, he had still let Sewer stay home alone. This was because her mental traumas had not yet healed and she was still afraid of the outside world and its people. The reason why she had not succumbed to panic during the meeting with Seba's master was because all of them did not look remotely human. Back then, she had not acted like a traumatized person, but an average person who had seen a monster. Even leaving her on the coach might have caused problems as well. It was those worries which made Sebas decide to leave her in the house. He had also believed that in the wake of his wrecking of the brothel, the opposition would take some time to reorganize themselves or plan an attack. All he could say now was that he had been too naive. As Sebas paced quickly through the corridors, a voice called out to him amidst his anxiety. The voice came from the guest lounge. "Sebas-sama, over here." Solution: where is she? How could she be there? Sebas had checked the guest lounge just now. Still, he clung to a sliver of faint hope. He entered the room and saw Solution there, holding a piece of parchment. There seems to be something written on. "Give it to me." Sebas did not wait for Solution to reply before practically snatching it from her hands. Then he activated his magic item and read through the contents, whereupon he crushed the paper in anger. She was kidnapped. Therefore, I shall go and rescue her. Solution's reply was calm and emotionless. Your servant feels that you should do so as well. This did not sound like something Solution would say, and it made Sebas' eyes go wide. However, Ain-sama ordered us to retreat to the great underground tomb of Nazarick. Should we not prioritize that order? If we go back, we must do so with Suer. Sebas-sama, your servant feels that acting independently here will incur a great risk. Firstly, where will you go to rescue her? The note specified a time and place in exacting detail. Our opposition seems to be people involved with the brothel that I destroyed. I see. However, it would be best to report to Ain-sama before heading there. After all, had you not destroyed the brothel, things would not have ended up like this. Sebas-sama, was that not a violation of Ain-sama's request that we keep a low profile? In addition, acting on your own again would mean defying Ain-sama's will once more. Sebas-sama, and also, have you forgotten what Ain-sama said back then? Sebas-sama. Those words flashed through Sebas' mind like a stroke of lightning. In whose name had Ain sworn to protect Suer? Report to Ain-sama. Tell him that Suer has been kidnapped, and ask him for advice on how to proceed.